Hi, everybody. Welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Terry Stiles, back with my co-host, Jim Hughes.
Good to have you back, Terry. It's definitely been a while. Good to see you
Mm-hmm.
back on the air again. And we're going to be doing the news for a few times more, I would think.
I hope so.
Yeah.
And I am happy to be back on the news. And in this week's news, a new snow and ice removal ordinance from the village, a suspect in the Pontiac break-in story, and a snow that is practically perfect in every way. All that and more. The Oxford News begins right now. So the Village of Oxford adopted a new snow and ice ordinance with hopes for a speedier clearing. It establishes fines, allows for cost recovery in favor of the village, and is made up of 5 sections. For sidewalks, the owners or occupant of any property on the village street is responsible for removing snow and ice from the sidewalks by 7 p.m. the day after it snows. If owners don't remove the snow or ice from the sidewalks within the given time frame, the village manager may get the snow and ice removed. The owner will then owe the village the full expense of the removal plus 15% for inspection and related costs. The new ordinance also includes some prohibitions, including preventing putting removed snow into the roadway, of course, or within 3 feet of a fire hydrant. Those who violate the provisions are responsible for municipal civil infractions and are subject to paying a civil fine between $25 and $500. Jim?
Sewer rates are on the rise in Oxford Township. To keep up with the rising costs, the Oxford Township Board of Trustees voted to increase the quarterly flat rate to a non-metered sewer customers beginning of January of this year. The majority of non-metered sewer customers are residential users. They have to pay an additional $12 per quarter, with equals of $4 more per month. Township officials also increased the metered sewer rate by $4 per 1,000 cubic feet of flow. Oxford Township is part of the larger Clinton-Oakland sewage disposal system and relies on the Oakland County Water Resources Commissioner's Office to operate and maintain sewage systems. Because of all the connections, the township must pay their services, and there's no control over these costs. The Oxford Township Water and Sewer Committee said in a statement that the entities are imposing more costs on the township, that the committee has no choice but to pass those costs on to sewer customers. For more information on the charges, contact Oxford Township Treasurer Joe Ferrari at jferrari@oxfordtownship.org. Terry.
In other township news, the Oxford Township Board of Trustees has approved 2 agreements with the Oakland County Sheriff Office for the next 3 years. Trustees voted 6-1 with Trustee Rod Charles as the lone no for the Oakland County Sheriff's Office Law Enforcement Service Agreement. It comes with a substantial cost increase to the township over the next 3 years. According to Township Supervisor Jack Curtis, Oxford will have to find ways to save funds in order to pay for the final 2 years of that contract. Curtis says the contract was created by the County Commission, which voted to raise the rates to cover all indirect costs to the Sheriff's Office through the contract. Curtis is outspoken against the County Commission, saying that the Commission members have given themselves raises while raising the Sheriff's Office rates after budget deadlines, even calling them, quote, criminal commissioners. Board Chairman David Woodward denied similar allegations made by a release by the Oakland County Deputy Sheriff's Association late last year that the new contract rates by law equal the cost of services and that the county is fully funding the police. Jim?
In an update to a story we brought you last week, the Oakland County Sheriff's Office says they have a suspect in custody believed to be responsible for multiple home invasions. The Sheriff's Office says they believe a 13-year-old suspect and responsible for 11 home invasions. in the Pontiac and Detroit office say that they have linked him to 9 completed and attempted home invasions dating all the way back to 2022. Officials say the first incident might have occurred a few years ago, but it wasn't until recently that it started seeing a pattern with the other home invasions and the incidents in the area. The sheriff's office believes the suspect was targeting the residence of young girls. Oakland County Sheriff Michael Burchard said the suspect's parents were cooperative with the detectives and brought their son in for the arrest. Suspect is actually currently housed in Oakland County Children's Village while the prosecutor's office weighs possible charges against that individual. Terry.
Wow. Governor Gretchen Whitmer is entering an ongoing battle over Michigan wages. Michigan lawmakers are debating legislation that would preempt a Michigan Supreme Court ruling. Republican lawmakers are trying not only to raise Michigan's minimum wage to $12 an hour versus the $12.48 ordered by the court. In 2018, GOP lawmakers took action to water down minimum wage and sick leave initiatives passed by voters. The court determined that the move was illegal. Now the court has ordered the original minimum wage and sick leave initiatives to go into effect starting February 21st. That's coming up. The bill that would keep the minimum wage raise at a lower dollar amount passed the Michigan House of Representatives 63-41. Governor Gretchen Whitmer responded to the legislation this week by floating extended negotiations over it. Whitmer says she wants a bipartisan deal that protects servers and waitstaff while also providing certainly to small businesses and helping Michigan remain competitive. If House Speaker Matt Hall and Senate Majority Leader Winnie Brinks were unable to reach a bipartisan agreement in the coming weeks, Governor Whitmer has encouraged them to pass a short-term extension through July 1st. We'll see how that goes. Jim?
In an effort to restore local control of renewable energy projects, it's currently underway. The Michigan legislature recently introduced a new legislation, House Bill 4027 and 4028. Currently, state preemption laws like Public Act 233 to prevent communities from regulating the energy projects that impact their homes, farms, and neighborhoods. The new bill actually addresses long-standing concerns from residents and local officials who would like to be have more authority. The House Bill 4027 would amend the Michigan Zoning Enabling Act to give local governments the ability to hold developers accountable. They'll have a chance to enforce the zoning regulations and revoke special land use permits when developers fail to comply, giving local communities more choices on what aligns them, the long-term vision. The House Bill 4028 complements this by repealing Part 8 of the Clean and Renewable Energy and Waste Reduction Act, which actually allows developers to bypass local zoning by restoring local oversight. The legislation also makes sure decisions about land use are made by people who live and work in the actual areas that this takes place. Terry.
It's important to pay attention to that one. So Valentine's Day was last week, and February marks the season of love for more than just humans. From now through the next few weeks, it's coyote breeding season, according to the Michigan Department of Natural Resources. Running through March, this period means coyotes will be more active, on the move, looking for a mate and a den site. Coyotes need to make dens to raise their pups through the spring and summer. According to the Department of Natural Resources Wildlife Outreach Coordinator Rachel Lincoln, now is the time to take action. If you notice a coyote and don't want them to den in your property, look for possible attractions that might make the area appealing elsewhere, like food sources such as bird feeders. The bird feeder could attract small animals like rabbits or nasty meals in the eyes of predators. To keep coyotes away, the Department of Natural Resources recommends eliminating outside food sources, keeping small pets indoors, and trying to scare coyotes off by yelling, clapping, or making other loud noises. Maybe one of those big air horns. Jim?
Maybe the Roadrunner should have found out about that. In our Behind the Lens segment, the first full day of 2 new first responders, Oxford's newest full-time firefighters and paramedics, Hunter Drake and Isaac Talbert, were welcomed by the Township Board and sworn in by Fire Chief Matthew Majestic. Both Talbert and Drake are 2021 Oxford High School graduates who joined the Oxford Fire Department back in January of 2023 as part-time members. Both men are grateful to give back to the community where they grew up. Welcome on board the new firefighters. Maybe if you see them, you can welcome them as well. Well, there you go. Good stuff there. New firefighters on board.
Without going too much into the weeds, I have to commend the EMTs and the paraprofessionals that are on the ambulance services in Oxford,
Right.
both Oxford and Brandon. They're outstanding, and Majestic's lucky that people want to be at this fire department because they are amazing.
Yep, they got Oxford's definitely got a good fire force
we're
and a
pretty
good
darn lucky.
paramedics, like you said.
Yep, paramedics. Thank you, paramedics. I said.
Well, listen, no,
paraprofessionals. We have
but
good paraprofessionals too, but
exactly.
paramedics is what I
You can
meant.
double
They know
bill. You
their
can do
stuff.
anything, right?
They know what they're doing, and they're also working with high school students and teaching them that want to be parameds and EMTs. And I'm telling you, they're fine young men and women.
Good stuff. And again, we're definitely thank you for their service, all the first responders. We're going to take a slight break. We're back in a moment. Dave Kenny, and we always know he has something lined up for Auto Talk and Science in the News. I think I have a brief look at sports. Terry and I, good to have her back on board. We're going to close it all out at the end of this very newscast. You're watching Oxford News This Week.
Don't go away.
One in every 500 African Americans in the U.S. suffers from sickle cell disease. 1 in 3 African American blood donors is a match for patients with sickle cell. 1 appointment to donate blood with the American Red Cross can help save a life. Will you be that one? Visit redcrossblood.org/ourblood today to schedule an appointment at a location near you.
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from Automotive News. In our first story, Tesla has launched a freshened version of its wildly popular Model Y crossover in the U.S., starting with a pricey special edition that stickers for over $61,000 with shipping, a $12,000 premium over the comparable older version still on sale, according to Tesla's website. The automaker's online configurator on January 22nd showed first deliveries for the updated Model Y in March. The website did not indicate when regular versions of the freshened model, informally called Juniper, would go on sale. The special edition comes loaded with normally optional features such as premium paint and wheels at no additional cost. On the exterior, the freshened Model Y features updated front and rear fascias with integrated light bars that take inspiration from the Cyber pickup truck and Cybercab robotaxi prototype. On the inside, the Model Y adds ambient lighting, ventilated seats, and a small infotainment screen for rear passengers, Tesla said. Mechanically, the Model Y benefits from a retuned suspension for a softer ride and 320 miles of range, a 9-mile improvement over the comparable non-freshened version, the long-range all-wheel drive, according to Tesla. From the front bumper to the taillight, the exterior is completely redesigned to unlock maximum efficiency so you can get the most range out of every charge, Tesla said on its website. It goes on to say, with updated suspension, wheels, and tires, your ride will be smoother and quieter. The changes to the Model Y mimic the early 2024 freshen of the Tesla Model 3 sedan in the US, although the styling changes to the Model Y are more significant. The updated crossover, which Tesla calls the new Model Y long-range all-wheel drive launch series, comes standard with Tesla's advanced driver assistance software. The full self-driving software does not make the vehicle autonomous since it must be supervised by the driver at all times for safety. The FSD software cost $8,000 on the non-freshened Model Y. When the Cybertruck was launched in November of 2023, Tesla first sold limited edition Foundation Series models for nearly a year before launching the regular version. The special edition Cybertruck came with a $20,000 price premium, but also included the full self-driving software with no additional charge. The Model Y was the best-selling electric vehicle in the U.S. last year, according to industry estimates. Tesla sold just over 372,000 of the crossover last year, according to a December estimate by Cox Automotive. Tesla first announced the freshened Model Y on its China sales website on January 9th, followed by the start of production at its Berlin plant on January 14th. In the U.S., the Model Y is made at Tesla's factories in Fremont, California, and Austin, Texas. In our next story, Toyota Motor Corporation is recalling over 106,000 U.S. vehicles over a brake fluid leak that can reduce braking ability and increase the risk of a crash, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration said on February 11th. The recall affects certain 2024 to 25 Tacoma pickups. NHTSA said the clearance between the rear brake hose and wheel may allow mud and dirt to build up, which can damage the brake hose and lead to a brake fluid leak. Dealers will replace both rear brake hoses free of charge, the NHTSA statement said. Well, that's it for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television.
Hi, I'm Peyton Manning, and I'm partnering with the American Red Cross this year to tackle blood shortages. Giving blood's important because every 2 seconds, someone actually needs blood, and unfortunately, only like 3% of the U.S. population donates. So we have to step up to give and to make sure there's plenty of blood available for those in need. Visit redcrossblood.org to get in the game and make an appointment to give.
Back with you on Oxford Sports, and how apropos for the weather we've been having. The Holly Oxford ski team hosted the MHSAA Division I Region II Regional Championship under blue skies, perfect snow conditions at Mount Holly. The varsity girls team placed third overall, qualifying as a team for the state finals. The girls team was led by Finley DeCubber and Sierra Mutual. The varsity boys ski team placed seventh overall. Senior Cody Musial and freshman Joey Green qualified in the individuals for Division I state finals. Oxford is so proud of the athletes and the achievements. Congratulations as you hit the slopes. We appreciate what you're doing for our community. The Oxford boys varsity basketball team, without saying, are on fire. OAA White League champions. The Oxford boys basketball team won the OAA White outright with their win at Farmington last week. In an exciting game, the Wildcats took home a first-place 66-59 score. It was the team's first league championship since back in 2018-19 season. The team is now 12-0 in the league and played 2 games remaining. The Oxford has an overall record, unbelievable record, 19 wins, 1 loss. Notre Dame Prep in the close game at 72-67. Boys remaining games are Troy Athens and a senior night. That was a senior night away against Harper Woods last week. Again, congratulations to those Oxford Wildcat basketball players. A lot of them contests can be seen here on weekends, right here at OCTV. That's going to wrap in sports. You know what? I know Dave Kenny's got one more segment, and coming up in our last story, you don't want to miss this. Terry will have that for you. A little bit of sugar. That's what we're going to call it. We're back in a moment. You're watching Oxford News This Week.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and this story is taken from New Scientist. A daily omega-3 supplement seems to slow biological aging in older people, particularly if combined with vitamin D and exercise. We already know that omega-3s, good fats found in seeds, nuts, and some fish, can boost our immunity, heart health, and brain function. They have also been linked to changes in epigenetic markers. Those are chemical tags on DNA that alter the activity of genes and, in turn, how cells behave. This suggests that omega-3s reduce the pace of biological aging, often defined as a measure of how quickly someone's body is deteriorating compared with the general populations. To explore this further, Heike Bishop Ferrari at the University of Zurich and her colleagues split 777 people in Switzerland aged 70 to 91 into 8 groups. They also wanted to find out how omega-3 may work alongside vitamin D, supplements, and exercise. Omega-3 plays on multiple pathways of aging, such as being anti-inflammatory. Similarly, vitamin D and exercise have multiple benefits, says Bishop Ferrari. We thought, if you play on each of these differential pathways, do you get an additional benefit? Some of the participants were already taking these supplements or doing strength training at the start of the study. It didn't seem ethical to tell them to stop exercising or stop taking certain supplements, says Bishop Ferrari, so they were allowed to continue. On top of their existing lifestyle habits, each group was told to take varying combinations of a daily 1-gram dose of omega-3, placebo pills, and 2,000 international units of vitamin D. In addition, some groups were instructed to do 30 minutes of strength training 3 times a week. For instance, some people were told to take omega-3 pills, but not vitamin D supplements, or do any additional strength training, while others were told to add in strength training and take vitamin D, but not omega-3. At the start of the study, the researchers estimated the participants' biological ages using epigenetic clocks previously developed by the team and other researchers. These analyzed DNA markers called methyl groups in their blood samples that generally decline with age, impairing cell function. By doing the same 3 years later, the scientists found that the participants who were told to take omega-3 had only aged by an average of 3 months less on average than those who were given only placebo pills. They accounted for factors that could affect the results, such as the participants' actual age, weight, sex, and height. This is the biggest trial we have today that hints that a simple supplement contributes to slowing biological aging, says Bishop Ferrari. What's more, those who took omega-3 along with vitamin D and did strength training aged even less compared with people who didn't introduce these habits as part of the trial. The effect was somewhat more pronounced, almost 4 months of rejuvenation, says Bishop Ferrari. These effects may seem small, but could be important for some, says Richard Xiao at King's College in London. For an older person, in about 3 months, there could be a lot of age-related decline going on, so this becomes more significant, he says. But epigenetic clocks are not a perfect measure of biological aging. Just because biomarkers on your DNA indicate that you resemble someone who was younger, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are healthier in some ways, says Xiao. Further research should assess what the changes mean for measures such as cognition, ability to exercise, and heart health, he says. And Bishop Ferrari's team is now analyzing participants' data on such outcomes. Another limitation of the study is that the participants were relatively healthy and active and mostly not deficient in vitamin D. Further studies that involve people without these characteristics and who are younger and live in other countries are needed, says Bishop Ferrari, and that's good news. Well, that's it for Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny.
So in our last story this week, a little bit of sugar. This week, the weekend marks the opening of Oxford High School's annual musical. This year, the talented students will take part in Mary Poppins, the Broadway musical. Based on the book by P.L. Travers and the classic Walt Disney film, Cameron Mackintosh and Disney's Mary Poppins delighted Broadway audiences for over 2,500 performances. It received nominations for 9 Olivier and 7 Tony Awards, including Best Musical. Shows will take place for the next 3 weekends in a row. The box office opens online on February 7th and offers tickets at 3 different prices based on whether a visitor wants to sit on the main floor, the mezzanine, or behind the bar. Although none of the shows are sold out by the time of this reporting, many ticket spaces are filled and are filling fast. Get ready for the show that's practically perfect in every way. And a spoonful of sugar ice helps that medicine, right?
When I watch My Mary Poppins, I want to be at the bar, okay?
I could sing every word to every single song, I'm sure.
Let the musical do it. We'll let them do it.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I'm going to go out, and this is purely my own, okay? And I wasn't going to say nothing, but we go back to the story that you read in regards to the snow removal and that.
Yeah.
And again, I understand that, and but Oxford is an older, more of an elderly community. I know we're having a lot of young people move in, but
they're in the outskirts.
Well,
where
right,
yeah.
and I think maybe the village might have considered taking care of the elderly in regards to that. Again, that's my own viewpoint. I don't live in Oxford in the community. I live in another community that does look out for their elderly. And I think the fines that are being imposed, I guess, maybe that is just, but I think there's a lot of older people that want to get the job done and they're having a hard time doing that. That's all I can tell you.
Right. So it would be nice maybe if the village could offer, say, hiring somebody that would go around to, exactly, or maybe they have to have some community service hours before they graduate high school.
I heard there was a judge up in I want to say maybe Lapeer or up in even Flint that these people that were breaking into the stores and stuff now they're going to be washing cars at Walmart or something.
That's perfect. Well, now maybe the village could find kids that want to shovel sidewalks for older people. I know my sister has a corner lot, and she broke her foot last year. She had all kinds of medical issues, and they were hassling her constantly because she just can't get that sidewalk.
And back in our day,
24 hours. That's ridiculous.
And back in the day when we were growing up, there was a lot of youngsters walking around the shovel snow for $5.
Yeah.
You don't see that no more.
No,
Kids are not coming out of the house, okay? And,
I know.
And like I said, maybe more of a consideration, or I think your community service idea is wonderful.
Yeah.
But again, this was something that was just mandated, run through the village. And again, my own viewpoint, it doesn't have anything to do with the station. I have 2 elderly parents that live in Oxford, and I want to thank, of course, Bill Dunn. He's their neighbor.
For doing that.
I think he kind of likes pulling that snowblower out, so he takes care of it. So anyways, that's it. That's me on the soapbox. Good to have Terry back in. Anything you want to say before we step out?
I'm just grateful to be back, grateful to be here, grateful to be back at the studio. And if you have any story ideas, please give us a call at 248-628-9658.
We can be viewed on Spectrum Charter 191 on Channel 99 on the AT&T U-Vert system. Check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Rumble, the Amazon Fire Stick, Roku app, and like Terry said, if you do have a show idea, maybe you'd like to volunteer here, OCTV, give our office a call. Terry's back at the helm along with Dave, 248-628-9658. Special thank you going out to producer-director himself, Kyle Snage, news writer extraordinaire. She writes it from a fireboat. She brings it back home, Allison Miller. Our station manager, great to have her back in the anchor chair, Terry Stiles. For everyone here, we'd like to once again thank those first responders for doing what they do. I'm Jim Hughes, hoping you have a safe week, and I'll invite you back next time when, again, we will sit back and take a look at Oxford News This Week.
Bye-bye.